Homeland Security detained my pregnant wife for 8 hours until they discovered I'm a federal judge. I arrived at JFK Airport at 3:30 p.m. to pick up my pregnant wife Sophia, who was returning from visiting her family in Colombia for her grandmother's funeral. At 7 months pregnant, she'd gone to handle family estate matters that required her presence in Bogota. I waited at the arrivals gate for 2 hours past her scheduled landing time, checking the flight status repeatedly and growing increasingly concerned. When I approached the customs desk to inquire about delayed passengers, the agent curtly told me to wait in the designated area without providing any information. My calls to Sophia's phone went straight to voicemail, which was unusual since she always kept it charged. Something was clearly wrong, but I had no idea that my wife was being held in a windowless detention room by agents who decided she fit a suspicious profile. The nightmare began when Sophia handed over her U.S. passport at customs. Despite having valid documentation, Agent Patricia Williams flagged her for secondary inspection based on routine screening procedures. The questioning started innocuously about her trip's purpose, but quickly escalated when Sophia mentioned being pregnant and traveling alone. Pregnant women from Colombia often try to exploit birthright citizenship, Williams announced to her colleagues loud enough for Sophia to hear. Standard procedure requires enhanced screening to prevent fraud. 2 additional agents, David Murphy and Angela Foster, joined the interrogation as they moved Sophia to a private detention room. The questions became increasingly hostile, despite Sophia's clear documentation and obvious pregnancy proving her U.S. citizenship. They confiscated her phone, preventing contact with family or legal representation. How do we know this pregnancy is real? Agent Murphy demanded, forcing Sophia to submit to a physical examination confirming her 7-month pregnancy. Could be padding, could be fake, Williams insisted, committed to her theory that Sophia was perpetrating immigration fraud. Drug mules often use fake pregnancies to avoid thorough searches, Foster added without any evidence. Sophia's attempts to explain her citizenship status and legitimate travel fell on deaf ears as agents became convinced they'd uncovered a criminal operation. The interrogation continued for hours, with Sophia denied food, water, or bathroom breaks despite her pregnant condition requiring regular facility access. Their commitment to finding wrongdoing only intensified with each failed attempt to uncover criminal activity. The agents' behavior became more aggressive as their investigation yielded nothing suspicious. Rich Colombian families often send pregnant women to give birth in America for citizenship purposes, Williams explained to Murphy, while Sophia listened to their theories. Then they returned to Colombia with American children who can sponsor the whole family later. They demanded detailed financial information about Sophia's family, questioned the legitimacy of her grandmother's death, and suggested the funeral was a cover story for drug trafficking. Murphy spent 40 minutes with Colombian authorities trying to verify Sophia's family connections, despite having no legal authority to investigate American citizens. Something doesn't add up, Foster kept repeating, unwilling to admit their initial profiling was wrong. The detention stretched past 6 hours as agents desperately searched for justification for their treatment of an obviously innocent pregnant American citizen. My frustration reached its breaking point when airport security told me for the 4th time they had no information about my wife's whereabouts. I decided to use my position to cut through the bureaucratic obstacles keeping me from finding Sophia. I'm Federal Judge Michael Patterson, I told the customs supervisor, showing my judicial identification and demanding immediate information about my wife's detention. Sophia Patterson was on flight 482 from Bogota, and she's being held somewhere in this facility without justification. The supervisor's demeanor changed instantly as he realized he was speaking to a sitting federal judge whose wife was being illegally detained. Within minutes, I was escorted to the detention area where I found Sophia exhausted, dehydrated, and emotionally traumatized after 8 hours of interrogation based purely on ethnic profiling. Agents Williams, Murphy, and Foster, I said calmly, reading their names while mentally preparing the civil rights lawsuit that would end their careers. You've detained an American citizen for 8 hours without cause, denied her access to legal representation, subjected her to discriminatory treatment based on national origin, and violated numerous federal statutes protecting citizens from unlawful detention. Sophia collapsed into my arms while the 3 agents tried to stammer explanations about routine procedures. There was nothing routine about this, I continued, already planning the complaint I'd file with the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. You profiled my wife based on ethnicity and pregnancy status, then doubled down rather than admit error. Williams tried to claim they were doing their jobs, but Murphy and Foster were backing away, understanding their law enforcement careers had just ended spectacularly. Within 30 days, all 3 agents were terminated for civil rights violations and faced federal prosecution for deprivation of rights under color of law. Sophia and I received a formal apology from Homeland Security, along with policy changes requiring supervisory approval for detentions exceeding 2 hours. The settlement funded Sophia's recovery and our daughter's college education. Williams, Murphy, and Foster found employment difficult after their termination for constitutional violations became public record. Sometimes protecting your country means protecting all citizens equally, regardless of appearance or travel history.